Now, every now and then I see something passing by in real life that makes me wonder what could have happened if somebody reacted differently. A normal thought, right? Well, I've also been looking at the Zelda series in such a way, and one thing stood out to me. While watching an ADGQ 2020 speedrun of The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker by Link 7, shout out to my man because he's a legend, I noticed one thing that kinda shocked me. Zelda almost died in that game, and it would have actually happened if the circumstances were a little different. So today we will look into what could have happened if it all did go wrong. Also, little spoiler side note, Tetra and Zelda are the same person. Now in the game, Link finds out that Ganondorf kidnapped Zelda and took her to his headquarters, also known as Ganon's Tower. A scary fortress no one has ever been able to get through. After getting through it all, Ganondorf is waiting for him, sitting on a bed where Zelda is sleeping, and this is where it all starts. He transforms into multiple different large marionette-like creatures in order to take out Link and win, which of course doesn't work. And so Ganondorf takes Zelda away up, and tells Link to follow him. After getting up there, he stands before Link, quite menacingly. In the end, he manages to catch Link off guard while rushing him, knocking Link down with a couple of swift punches. Thanks to Ganondorf taking down Link, the Master Sword flies off to the side, almost hitting Zelda in the head. Now this is the thing that scared me a lot. What if the thing actually hit her? How would it change the ending of the game itself? Well, let's dive into that. Let's say it did hit her, which most likely ended Zelda's life. Because, let's be honest, it's a sword going through your freaking skull, So clearly she's out of the picture in this whole scenario, laying there lifeless basically. But will this actually have a big impact on the story itself? Well, yes, and I gotta say, it could change things in very surprising ways when you look at all of it. Normally, with Link and Zelda being temporarily out for the count, Ganon would proceed to summon the pieces of the triforce from within all of them, so he can try to make a wish. Now, regardless of the new circumstances, all of this would still happen in the end. Only after this, things would drastically change. Because normally, Ganondorf can't make his wish because Daphnes no Hands in Hyrule touches the triforce before he does. However, it could be that the sudden events related to Zelda distract the former king enough that he can't be there before Ganondorf. For example, he would see Zelda getting hit by the blade and runs to her, so he can possibly save her from this insane injury. This would literally change everything, and is one of the many options in this alternate scenario. If this was the case, Ganondorf could get his wish, which would mean that Ganondorf and his army, who were locked below the seas, would be free to roam the world once again. Now, before the Great Flood happened to bury the evil forces that were about to win the battle, Hyrule was in a terrible position and would have lost to the King of Evil. So if they would be unleashed again with just Link being there to stop them, the chances of survival for the world as we know it would basically be zero. In a situation like this, it would be a definite game over for Link, the world, and even the player. They were destroying everything on their path, and only when the flood happened, which was divine intervention, they actually lost. Back in the day, the King of Hyrule even tried to use his magic to stop Ganondorf, but sadly enough it had no effect and failed. So in the end, left with no other choice, the people pleaded to the three golden goddesses, who answered the people's prayers, instructing those chosen to flee to certain spots in Hyrule. And once the people were saved, the goddesses caused a torrential downpour, covering the land and turning the mountaintops into islands. It could even be that if Ganondorf gets his wish, that the gods will pop up again and try to stop him using some godly powers. So that's one possibility of what could have happened in this alternate scenario. But there must be more to it all, right? Well, yes, because it can get even weirder and darker down the line thanks to what happened to Zelda here. Let's say the King of Hyrule is fast enough to prevent the one wish that could destroy the world. Then the kingdom would still be swallowed by the sea. Normally Ganondorf goes absolutely crazy and attacks Link, but with the Master Sword at its full power, Link and Zelda fight him, with the young hero going in close quarters, while the princess fires from a distance with a bow using the powerful light arrows. In the end, they're able to deal the final blow by stabbing him through his head, which apparently turns him to stone. However, while they win this battle in the game, this might not be the case if our beloved princess isn't there to shoot light arrows and give Link his sword. In the fight itself, she has a crucial role by keeping Ganondorf busy at times, and also giving Link many chances to strike him. So without her giving Link those openings, the chances of our hero actually winning are slim. And if he was defeated here, then it could affect the end of this game and future ones in quite interesting ways. Just imagine everyone involved with the events happening here would meet their end. It's not just Ganondorf who disappears, everyone will be gone from the story in this timeline. And this could have a huge impact when you think about it. A lot already changed in Ocarina of Time, where the original timeline split happened because of the hero meeting his end or even leaving. For the people who don't know, according to Nintendo, there are 3 different endings to Ocarina of Time. One where there is no hero, one where the hero wins, and the other where the hero is beaten. This had a huge effect on the world and the future of it, as you can imagine. And the same is the case here if both Zelda and Link never return. Because normally the King of Hyrule bonjours them back to the surface using his Word Voodoo magic, while Hyrule is buried beneath the waves. And after this, they are reunited with everyone on the pirate ship. But this isn't where it ends actually, because in a post-credit cutscene, we can actually see Link and Tetra sail away with their crew, searching for a new land with the wind as their guide. And all of this actually marks the beginning of the first Nintendo DS Zelda game, Phantom Hourglass. Because this game opens with Tetra and her pirate crew, along with Link chasing down a ghost ship claimed to have taken sailors and residents of the local islands. Eventually finding it, getting aboard, and then ending up in a world where Bellum terrorizes people, with Link saving the day in the end. However, if neither of them would ever return from Hyrule, then none of this would ever happen, of course. And while at the end of Phantom Hourglass people doubted if the entire story scene in the game was even real, we do see things in the cutscene that suggest it all happened, like the Hourglass. So we can probably safely say that the world scene in Phantom Hourglass, known as the World of the Ocean King, is real. And it's also apparently connected to the Great Sea in some way. That's because we see a character from that world known as Lineback leave at the end with his boat. So it's set in the same universe by the looks of it. Now normally this neighboring world would have been saved by Link and Tetra, stopping the monster Bellum. However, if that doesn't happen, then this monster could actually come to the Great Sea at some point. Bellum was already busy collecting people's life force to become powerful, and even created a ghost ship to lure people to it, so he could get their energy as well. So if he would be done destroying that world, then he would be incredibly powerful when finally arriving in the Great Sea, being able to consume it completely in no time. Even if Link came around the corner to rescue the day once more, he would be too powerful to beat. But since he already met his end when fighting Ganondorf, he couldn't even come to stop Bellum from taking over everything. So while it did save the world from Ganondorf's evil grip, which took a long time and work, if they don't stop Bellum later on, the world would still be in ruins eventually. However, that would take years, right? They even said in Phantom Hourglass that Bellum popped up a few years ago, and when we came there in the game, the world itself wasn't destroyed yet, so the Great Sea would have some time left, right? Well, no, because apparently the time between Link and Tetra's arrival and departure in the world was only about 10 minutes. So time moves a lot faster, which means that Bellum could strike very fast. It might have been pure luck that Link and Tetra went at the time they did, because maybe a day later he would have actually come from this other world to end the lives of everyone living in the Great Sea area. He could just go from one island to another and take everyone out, slowly draining the energy of everyone around the world. And since there's no hero, it will most likely end badly. It will probably be similar to Ganondorf's attack before the flood happened. Either the world will be destroyed and in ruins, or some divine being would come around the corner to save the day instead of Link. So this minor change already affects the outcome of this timeline a lot, and possibly in different ways even. But there's also another game after Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks. And here things would also be different, because Link, Tetra and the other pirates came across the new land seen in this game and turned it into New Hyrule. A completely new kingdom that was born thanks to them, and the lands were forever changed in a positive way. But thanks to the new events where both of them, or at least Tetra, didn't return, none of this would ever happen. Meaning that if Bellum didn't stop the world in any way, they would still live on separate islands and the Kingdom of Hyrule would never be born. Eventually turning this whole era into quite a dark one, similar to the Downfall timeline, where Ganondorf won by defeating Link and getting everything he wanted. And after we looked into all the options, we can actually see that the world will be screwed in one way or another if Zelda actually meets her end to the blade that was supposed to save them, the Master Sword. A couple of inches closer would have done the job, so they are very lucky it didn't actually happen in the end. So as you can imagine, the world of Zelda could look completely different with the slightest changes to the story. One misstep could mean a completely different world, quite similar to how it all changed in just 7 years when Link took the Master Sword in Ocarina of Time and Ganondorf took over. Here Link had to get the legendary blade, but they messed up because it actually seals him away in the Sacred Realm until he's old enough to wield it, which they didn't know. And of course Ganondorf suspected that Link might have already acquired the keys to the Sacred Realm, so he ended up following him to the Triforce, taking it for himself, resulting in a dark, or rather depressing world. And now I finally know what could have happened here. And I gotta say, I was quite curious. Now if you all like this video and it does well, I might do more of them because they are quite fun to do.